Originally, this video was part of a Udemy marketing course, but I've decided to make it available for free for you right here on YouTube. Anytime you need to get a hold of me, all you have to do is mouse over this picture and click on the white eye icon. You know, today's website owner has an entire range of options when it comes to advertising. And that's what we're going to talk about this time. It's Lecture 4.3, Online Ads. Here we go. Social media platforms such as Facebook and Twitter will be covered in their own separate videos later on in this section. Right now, I want to talk to you about more traditional forms of online advertising. And I'd like to start with one of my favorites. It's called remarketing. Now, what's remarketing? Remarketing is when someone comes to visit your website and you're part of a remarketing ad network. The network will put either a cookie or an invisible pixel onto that visitor's browser. Now, let's pretend tomorrow the visitor goes to another website that's also part of that remarketing network. They will see an ad from your website the day before. Now, we know the visitor's interested in a product in your category because they came to your website. And so by seeing your name several times, that visitor is far more likely to come back to your website. This is very effective advertising. Now, how exactly does remarketing work? On modern web pages, it's quite normal for components, little bits off of that page, to be loaded from a number of servers across the internet. Sometimes these servers will serve up things like Google Analytics information. Other times they may serve up something called an invisible pixel, and that will be coming from an advertising network company. Along with the pixel, they'll download perhaps a cookie, and they will almost certainly get the IP address of your computer. You see, everything on the internet, including a printer or a smartphone, is going to have an IP address. And that address is unique. It's a series of digits and dots. Now, that will allow us to track your computer across other web pages or even email. You see, if you have a company like Aweber or SendReach, InContact, for example, they will insert an invisible pixel into an email so that if that email is forwarded along to someone else, they know. You also would know if that particular email was opened by the recipient. That's all good information if you'd like to keep your email list up to date. So how does this exactly work? Well, I went to dictionary.com and found that they had loaded 3 invisible trackers on this page, one from ComScore, another one from a company called QuantServe Tracker, and of course Google+. All of these companies are going to track me across the internet, and when I show up at another one of their web pages, the odds are I'm going to get an ad for dictionary.com on my page. Now, the company I recommend for this is called AdRoll. And they are actually quite effective, and they've got reasonable prices. You can get ads on your web page, your Facebook page, Twitter, on your customers' mobile phones. I personally find this highly effective advertising because we're only advertising to people who have already visited our website. We know they're interested. Of course, perhaps the most common form of regular online advertising is search advertising. You know, when you go to Yandex or Google or Bing, and there's a list called SERPs, the results page. Above the list of the organic returns, you'll see several ads. And those ads are a terrific way to rank your website. If you find yourself stuck on page 3, you can rank on page 1 tomorrow all the way up at the top if you go to Google and bid on an ad. Now, your ad, of course, is matched up with the search that person is looking for at that very moment. That makes this highly effective advertising. Of course, first things first, you're going to want to set up a Google AdWords and a Bing Ads account. And when you log into AdWords, this is the interface you're going to be presented with. And there are tabs across the top that are fairly self-explanatory, your ads and keywords you've used. Keywords is interesting because this will give you information about how many people are searching what particular keywords. By the way, I use a product called Market Samurai, and I actually prefer Market Samurai. I don't know, I like the way the information is presented. They're also pulling their information from a number of different places. Now, as I mentioned, the other place you'll want to be is Bing Ads. Once again, a fairly similar thing. You can go do research into keywords here, and you'll find a lot of information for you, how much they cost, how many people are visiting each keyword, and then of course you'll have ads and ad groups, and all of this information will be useful for you for Bing. My personal experience from this seems to mirror the experience of other folks, which is to say, when it works, for me it works quite well. And when it doesn't work, well, I don't get any clicks at all. And that really seems to be the experience most people I have spoken to have. So I recommend you don't spend a great deal of money right up front. Do you remember back in Section 2, there was a lecture called Old School? And the point of that particular video was to tell you to keep an open mind about older forms of advertising. Well, this is a little old school too. It's banner advertising. You remember this back in the 90s. Well, it's still around and it's still effective. Let me show you how it works. If you'd like to try your hand with banner advertising, may I recommend a company called BuySellAds.com. And basically it's fairly straightforward. You can buy directly from the different publishers and try your hand at banner ads. Now the way it works is you'll go ahead, set up your account, and you can go to a number of different categories that you might be interested in. Obviously, we're going to give advertising on travel channels a try, and let's just pick one at random. Travelers Today, it says 200,000 monthly impressions. By the way, you can also buy ads on their Twitter feed, and that's kind of cool. Here's the different locations and sizes of the ads. $8 per 1,000 impressions. That's kind of nice because, and I've done this, you can try something small, see if it works, and if it does, you can buy later on. So it's a kind of neat place to get started, get your feet wet, and see what works and what doesn't, and you can pick out almost any category. Like the AdWords advertising from a few minutes ago, banner ads are something that, well, it's a little bit of trial by fire. You've got to experiment the first time or two. One shortcut you can take is by going back to that BSA website we were talking about a minute ago, click on the category you're interested in advertising in, and go find some of the websites listed in that category. Look at their banner ads, especially ones that could be competitors of yours. Reload the page if you have to. And see what those ads all have in common. Are they all asking questions? Are they all bright colors? Take an interest in how they're doing those ads and try to mimic what you think is successful. You may find that's a shortcut to banner ad success. Coming up next time, it's Lecture 4, Section 4, Ad Blockers. I hope you'll stay with us. Take care. Bye-bye.